gets better. Say that it gets better. O.P.S. I'm gay-ish.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast that puts the ride in pride.
Wait, wasn't that June?
No, we're proud all year long, Mike. You need to learn your lesson.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And we're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
Have you watched any porn lately?
So much.
Yeah. We're going to talk about gay porn.
Also, I did research for this, but those two things were unrelated. Because this is like the first time I was like typing in gay porn and I was like, ugh, look at all the actual porn I'm getting. I want to do reading.
But first, you had some things.
Yeah. Do you want me to do my things first?
Or do you want me to do my things first?
Well, one is a correction. Do you have this?
Oh, God. Okay.
For you?
What? No, what did I do?
What? I mean, it's hard to narrow it down.
I said words out of my face hole.
But the one thing that someone at least called you on is Wayland said, love the podcast. On the last one, which I think was 2 ago at this point, you were talking about people posting things without researching them, and you did the same thing when you were talking about people saying that liberals won't let us cut the trees down, and that's why fires get so bad. What they're actually talking about is called controlled burns. It's when the forest department goes out there and burns areas so that if a fire does break out, it can't spread and get as large as they're doing.
Okay. I don't care. Okay, no, so wait, so I don't think it's a correction for me. It might be a correction for those idiots that were posting things. It's not a correction for what, like if I say I saw a blue bear and then somebody sends in a correction and says blue bears aren't real, that's fine. I still claim that I saw one.
Oh, you saw a blue bear? This is what
Yes.
you're talking about? You blew a bear?
What I'm saying is I saw people on Facebook saying, why won't they let us cut the trees down? Then we wouldn't have fires, which is all I said. I didn't say they were right. I didn't say that was smart. I just said they were saying that.
That's not. Nope. You're incorrect.
Why?
I mean, like we were just talking about like you can't just post things and not know about them or say things like only read the headline. Like you basically read the headline of other people's posts and like generalize that to all Republicans, which is not. It'd be different if you said like some asshat posted this one thing on Facebook once, but you said like Republicans think we should be able to cut down all trees.
Okay, fine. Take his side. I don't care.
I already did.
No, that's not what happened. That's fine.
I mean,
I didn't say like the Republican Party believes this. I said that. Okay, go back, play the tape. We can decide. I don't think that that's what happened.
You made a broad implication about a big group of people that boiled the argument down to something that was seeming ridiculous when actually there was a more realistic point that they were making about fires.
No, you don't know what point they were making about fires. I'm telling you, I've seen both things. I've seen actually well-reasoned, hey, let's have a talk about natural resource usage and how the Forestry Service manages. I've read that. That's problematic, but like actual, like they can have those opinions because at least they're not stupid. And I have redneck relatives who were legit saying in so many words, not smart things about why there are fires and blaming the trees.
Okay. So maybe the correction is that was not all Republicans are saying that. That was your redneck relatives that you saw.
And I defy you to say that I said all Republicans because I guarantee I did not. You
did not say all Republicans. You just said Republicans or the right.
Yeah.
That's incorrect. You can't stand by that.
Whatever.
That you just like, it sounded, you made it sound like that was a widely held belief and it's not. And I think,
okay, that I will take.
Okay.
Limited sample size. Who knows how widespread that ridiculousness is?
It's, maybe as widespread as a fire.
Could be.
Or contained.
I'm going to burn down
burns.
Facebook. That's it.
This was fun. This is a fun way to start.
Yeah, mommy and daddy are fighting.
Carson said, approaching 60 years and close to finally coming out. Your podcast has been a driving force in my ability to make the final decision to tell the world who I truly am. Thank you so much, and please continue to be who you are. We need more honesty in this crazy country.
Oh, Carson Daly.
Carson Daly, you're finally coming out.
You're almost 60. That checks out.
Yeah, I'm impressed he's still alive.
Yeah.
He's still like number 10 on the list. And they're like, Carson, no. There's no camera on you right now.
That's very sweet. Thank you, Carson.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of very sweet emails lately. And that's a nice one.
Y'all stop making me cry in public. It's terrible.
Agreed. That was what I had.
Oh, okay. I mean, I had a couple of news things. I just didn't know if we had time for them. Because when we talk about gay porn...
We're talking with Davey Wavey.
We're going to talk with Davey Wavey about gay porn.
Yeah.
And that's no big, whatever.
We're cool. We're chill.
Yeah.
We're cash. We hobnob with internet celebrities.
Yeah.
Most of our lives.
When we were on his show, he had his shirt on the whole time.
Very disappointing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But go check out the Himmeros TV podcast. Because your favorite gayish hosts were on it.
It's us.
It's us.
That's us.
We were there on it.
It's called Himmeros Live. Yeah, we were on the episode. The episode was called Your Quote, A Watched Pot Never Ejaculates.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is perfect.
Yeah. It's true, though. Yeah. Anyway, I'll do a couple of news items.
Okay.
So the first one, do you know who Bianca Del Rio is?
No.
Okay.
Sounds like a drag queen.
Yeah, she is. And we're the worst because we know nothing about drag.
Oh, was this Drag Race something?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
She was on RPDR.
RPDR.
Yeah,
is that what all the insiders call it?
That's what the kids call it these days. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's apparently in a lot of trouble because at Montreal Pride, at an officially sponsored Montreal Pride event, she was talking about a current RuPaul's Drag Race contestant, Blair St. Clair, who told RuPaul on the show that she'd been sexually assaulted, that she'd been raped. Bianca Del Rio, during her set, said, quote, "No, fuck you. You noticed she wasn't raped until she was in the bottom two? Think about that. That's strategy. Fuck you. Rape is funny if you haven't had it. And if you weren't raped, remember this, you ugly."
Oh, God.
She was met with audible anger from the crowd, to which when they booed her, she said, "Oh, we're supposed to have sympathy? Fuck you. It is what it is, faggots." So
Aggressive pro-rape stance, I guess. Or like...
Yeah. So then, of course, lots of pushback, and all of the pushback has been like, sexual assault is never funny. There were probably people in the audience, given like numbers, percentage chance that somebody in that room had been sexually assaulted in the past were very high. Yeah. That they were probably triggered by that or had, PTSD about it. Rape is never funny. And I guess I'm wondering, I think we might have made rape jokes before. Probably.
Right before we talked about how we had felt violated on encounters that we've had.
Yeah. But what I wanted to ask, I think, is, I think the blanket statement, rape is never funny, is probably wrong. And maybe I'm an asshole for saying that. The problem here, I think what puts this over the line, what makes this over the line to me, is she is talking about a specific person who specifically claimed that she was sexually abused. And so that makes it personal and dirty and opportunistic in a way that I think makes it not okay.
Yeah, no, some people are just always going to believe that there's no funny rape joke, and that's fine. Like I understand that, and I disagree because I think anything can be funny if you are a funny person.
Yeah.
If your rape joke isn't funny, you might just need to get funnier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the real problem.
I agree.
Well, and also, I think the thing about the timing, that was the same thing everyone said about the women that came forward about Trump. They're like, oh, look, like this may be timed for but like what I think is like, so what? That doesn't change that the experience happened to them. That doesn't make me believe them any less. Like maybe she did time it that way when she was in the bottom two. It still happened. And that doesn't make it any more okay that she was raped.
Yeah, well, and I don't know the circumstances here. I don't know the timing, but let's say hypothetically that the assault happened years and years and years ago. If she's in the bottom two and is about to get kicked off the show and then brings up this sexual assault, and she did it because she wanted to garner sympathy and not get kicked off the show, isn't that kind of horrible too? If that's what happened. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying if.
I mean, like, I think it's hard to come forward.
How hard?
It's hard to come forward no matter what. So, like,
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean she should be saved from being eliminated if she was the worst at it. And even if it was timed on her part to do that, like, it's probably still helpful to hear voices of survivors. Like, I just don't think that changes too much.
Okay, moving on then. So this is a fast one. We don't have to stick on it very long. But apparently, Will and Grace this season, they're having another season of the reboot of the show is happening, and there is an upcoming episode that is going to have Minnie Driver, of course, who plays Karen Walker's stepdaughter, right? Yeah, I think that's true. Or something. I don't know. Anyway, some relation to Karen Walker, and they are like bitchy and rich together. Anyway, but
bitchy and rich together. That's their spinoff.
Yes. But Adam Rippon and Matt Bomer are going to be on an episode, like the same episode, and I don't know in what capacity, but the cast tweeted a photo that was Matt Bomer, Adam Rippon, of course, the full cast of Will and Grace, and then Minnie Driver.
Ooh. Why do people originally know Minnie Driver? Like, I don't.
She was in Good Will Hunting.
Oh, good for her.
And she's British.
Yeah, that's why people know her.
Yeah.
And she has a weird name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's Karen's something or other that she's bitchy and rich with her.
We're nothing if not well researched, which we're going to find out here in just a little bit.
We don't know anything about Will and Grace or drag race. Oh man, we're horrible. What do we know about?
Very little. Very, very little. Last but not least, Alex Jones. Remember Alex Jones and his rant? His
crazy rant about, is he the one that was transing the fish, or?
I think that he's at least passed that little tidbit of bullshit along.
Okay, good.
So there was a segment that was live online. It was streaming. He was doing a personal wellness segment, and to facilitate that segment, there was a screenshot of his desktop, or like a feed of his desktop.
Oh, no.
And he briefly clicked away from the website that he was showing, and underneath of it, there were several open tabs, including one with the title Naughty T-Babe Marissa Minx. T-Babe is trans. He was looking at trans porn. There was trans porn up there. Marissa Minx responded, quote, "I think it's great he's watching my work. I had heard of InfoWars before. Hi, Alex Jones. Happy to give you a free membership to my site. Or maybe you could have me on your show for a discussion."
Is she a trans fish? Is that why he's into her?
Yeah, he was trying to trace the source.
Yes, he was porn by porn. He was doing diligent research, just like we did.
Yep. His goldfish was feeling dysmorphic, so he tried to figure out where that came from.
Oh, do you think he has a pet trans goldfish, and he and the goldfish watch trans porn together?
It wasn't trans before.
Oh,
it got transed.
It got peed on and transed.
Minx also said many fans are secretive about really being into trans women, and it's unfortunate that they feel not only that they need to hide their true sexuality, but then bash the very thing they desire.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what studies keep showing is that the people that are the most homophobic, or I would just assume it's also transphobic, are the ones that are gay or into trans people, or...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's bullshit. Your bullshit is bullshit.
If you're gay... No, wait. If you hate gay people, you're gay.
Yeah.
No homo means yes homo.
Worst excuse ever, by the way. He claims that, quote, "I was trying to contact a reporter when the porn just popped up on my phone."
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, that's the excuse I used when I was 12 and my dad I don't know. I just got into a chat room and
it just happened.
And my hands fell on the keyboard and typed, "Shove your dick up my ass." I don't know. I don't know what happened. That's like when my boyfriend Jack comes back and he's like, what happened to all the Nutella? And I'm like, it just fell out the window somehow, but I grabbed hold of the empty bottle, and that spoon was me trying to collect it back, and that's why it's empty.
Dirty things that you do with desserts.
When I'm alone.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to watch that.
Great. So
when we come back,
we're going to have Davey Wavey with us. We're going to talk about gay porn and a whole bunch of other stuff too, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we're all going to be shirtless, touching our nipples.
I mean, that's how I roll. It's Sunday.
Mike has already gotten started.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. The day of nipple touching.
Yeah. And why not, right?
Yeah. God wants us to.
So should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. Break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Davey.
Hi, David.
That sounds very natural. Do I need to?
Hey guys.
It's nice to start talking to you for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Thanks for having me.
This is totally natural. I love it.
I can't be seriously.
So about 20% or so of our audience is straight and may not know who you are. So, like, for my mom, explain to my mom who you are and what you do, please.
So, gosh, I guess for the last 11 years, I've been making YouTube videos, and that's probably where most people know me from. And the videos are about everything from coming out to your family, coming out at school, to how to anal douche, and really everything in between. It's kind of like a fun version of like the sex ed class that we didn't have.
Yeah.
More recently, I launched an erotic website called himrose.tv, which is a much more explicit version of all that great stuff.
Yeah, the stuff that YouTube won't let you do.
Exactly.
Awesome. One thing we've talked about on this podcast is super hot guys, particularly on Instagram, that like...
I totally heard that episode.
Oh, you did? What do you think your role is when you're talking to mostly gay men, but also have a really, like, you're shirtless a lot, have a really attractive body? Like, what is your role then in, or how do you think about your role in men's health and how they view their bodies?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I get that if you make a YouTube video that has shirtlessness or nudity in it, that it's going to get more clicks. Mm-hmm. I've kind of used it as a marketing tool to use the skin to pull them in. Let's make it rhyme.
Did you just make up that rhyme? Because
I think I did.
That is beautiful.
But ultimately, I mean, if you think about it, like there's a lot of tits on the internet. Like there's a lot of there are a lot of hot guys. There's a lot of whatever. Like you have to have a little bit more than that to keep. You use the skin to pull them in, but you need to have some sort of message or some sort of content that's gonna keep them there. So yeah, I've definitely used sex and sexuality and sex appeal to build an audience. But ultimately, I think the reason why those people have stuck around for 11 years is because ultimately I'm also trying to use that platform to educate people. And in this instance, it's about sex, which is a fun thing to talk about. So
Do you want to talk about gay porn?
I really want to talk about gay porn.
I can tell.
It's the only thing I want to talk about.
You must, especially now, think about gay porn all the time.
Yeah, it's literally. Well, I feel like I've been doing this research for the last 25 years of my life. Ever since we got that like AOL dial-up, yeah, that's when I started on this path.
Who knew those first days early jerking off to really slow loading JPEGs that it was all leading you to here?
And here we are. Here we are. So I want to say that, because I'm going to say some things that are probably a little bit more critical of porn. And I don't mean to throw porn under the bus, because I love porn and I'm very porn positive. Is that a thing? Pro porn?
Sure. Yeah.
But I also think that there's limitations that as gay people, we don't often recognize. And I think I can like literally trace it back to when I was like a freshman in college. I was a sophomore. I was dating this guy. We were laying in bed. I was like 19 years old and I was covered in cum. Like we had just had sex.
Hot.
Can I say cum on here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can.
But whatever you do, watch your fucking language.
So much fucking cum all over my body, just like, dripping everywhere. And he looked at me and I get like sweaty as I remember it because it was very intense. I'm getting pitted. So he looked at me and he was like, we need to talk. And when you're like 19 and you're covered and your boyfriend's come and he says, we need to talk, like generally not a good thing.
Those four
And-
words are terrifying at any age, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
So he said to me, he's like, having sex with you is like being in a porn. And I was like, you're welcome.
In a
Like-
good way?
Right,
That
like-
seems like a compliment, right?
Well, so I thought, right? And he was like, no, like, I don't, no, that's not a compliment. Like, that's not a good thing. And I was like, but what? Like, because I'm thinking I didn't learn about sex from school or from friends or from family. I learned about it like into that vacuum filled porn. You know, like porn was my sex education. And if I was successfully like emulating what I saw on the computer screen in the bedroom, then for me, it was like, felt like mission fucking accomplished, right? Like I had
Missionary accomplished.
yeah, exactly. Like, right. Like what am I not getting here? And I think it probably wasn't until probably 10 years later that I realized like what he was referring to, that like porn, I think the question comes down to like, what is porn designed to do? And while I was using it as a form of sex education, like that's not what porn is. Like porn's designed, I mean, in my opinion, porn's designed to make you come. It's designed to like get you as aroused as possible. And so you can jerk off and you can watch it.
Yeah.
It's not designed to teach you about intimacy or connecting with a guy or shame or guilt or like about your body or
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I think it was designed to make me hate myself.
yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a fair side effect for a lot of people when they watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like if you watch porn and think like to yourself, what am I learning from this? Like, what is it teaching me? I think it would teach you to stick it in, right? That you can just stick it in. The harder you fuck someone, the better.
Oh yeah, like you just gotta. There's especially some porn studios that just like guys that just like ram really hard and go really fast, and it's like
Jackhammer.
yeah, like jackhammering the shit out of someone. It's like, ow.
I call that the barnyard dog, like fucking like a barnyard dog.
Yeah.
You know, like just like banging the shit out of someone.
I think my dog humps more gently than that.
Potentially. Yeah, I've learned that every sexual encounter requires an ejaculation.
Right? Right.
That sex ends with a cum shot. That the only way to really connect with someone is to fuck them. Like that's it. Like that's the currency of connection. I've learned that sex follows this formula of like every porn is the same. It's like kiss, suck, rim, fuck, cum.
Yep. Yep.
And that sex is only for guys with six packs and big dicks.
Yep.
So if porn's going to be your sex education, that's what you're going to learn. And that's scary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of limits to
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I'm like thinking about what my ideal would be, and I guess it like teaching. Do you teach gay kids how to have sex like in school then? Or like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think first of all, I think part of it is recognizing what porn is, like not using it as sex education. Like if you want to jerk off to it, fine, awesome, but like know what its limits are and kind of recognize its what it's there for, and to not use it for more than it is. But yeah, I do think so. They've done a lot of research on how kids want sex education, and they want it to be explicit, they want it to be online, and they want it to be in video form. And so
that makes sense.
I mean, I've tried to do that with my YouTube content to some extent, but YouTube as a platform has so many restrictions around like how explicit you can get and what you can show and what you can't. So for me, the solution was to make a much juicier version of that was launching Himrose TV, which is the site that I launched back in November, which uses erotic content to inspire better sex in gay men. So you can still have your porn and jerk off to it and enjoy it and hate yourself afterwards.
oh, I will.
But this can complement your experience. It gives you, I think, a more full and complete like spectrum of the gay and bisexual male sexuality.
Totally. And if you want to listen to us talking about jock fraught piss, then you can listen to Himrose Live, which is Davey Wavey's podcast that we were just on last week.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Yeah. I agree. I was really good.
Maybe your best episode.
Yeah.
Better words have never been spoken.
What have you learned in the process of creating your own porn studio, basically?
Oh God. Well, a lot. It's Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like not even sure that our content necessarily qualify. I think the video that you guys saw was like a particularly porny video that we've done. So it was more kind of recognizable. It's like, oh, I know what this is. But some of the stuff is like we have like guided masturbations or like sex games that you can play with a partner, or we did a how-to tutorial for orgasming without ejaculating.
Oh wow.
What? I guess I need to go watch that one.
I'll send you it's called full body orgasms. Yeah, and like they can last for like minutes.
Wow.
Instead of like 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Huh.
So you've got this figured out for yourself?
I haven't been able to have like I think I still have too much to work through. And this is, I mean, what I'm very careful to position myself as, like, we hire experts and like sex coaches and tantric instructors. Like, that's not who I am. I think I'm probably more at the level of like, wow, this is new and fucking weird and exciting, which is how most of my audience is. And we're kind of going through this like journey together. But to answer your question about starting a porn studio or creating erotic content, I wouldn't even know where to begin on the things that we've learned in the process, including that it's an industry that's like coming from YouTube, which is very collaborative. The porn world is very competitive and very like shady. And I thought like these other studios, many of which are owned by gay men, were just going to be like super excited that I was creating this content. Let's support each other as gay men and work together. But in reality, it's a competitive business, and it's an industry that overall isn't doing very well. And so I think when they see like a new person coming onto the scene, they're not thinking, oh, this is going to turn more people on to what we do. They're thinking, this is going to make my like slice of the pizza even smaller. Whereas my attitude is like, let's just order another pizza. Like, let's make the pizza bigger. And they're like, die. I want you to die.
It seems like it's like that for podcasters, for what that's worth. Like everybody, it's a big old community and people want to help each other out. And it's like polyamory almost. There's enough love for everybody.
Yeah.
And, so it doesn't surprise me, though, that porn would be so competitive.
And I think what you're describing is very empowering. Like that would be the way to like mutually help each other achieve success. Right.
It'd be like the mutual masturbation of porn. I'll get you off, you get me off, everyone wins.
Yeah, everyone's all the happier. Right, exactly.
So some of the models that I've seen in your stuff are famous. They come from other studios. Do they have any problems with their home studios because of this competition?
So it depends. Some of the models have like exclusive contracts with studios, and then there's models that are non-exclusive. So if you're not exclusive, that means you can work anywhere. The models that are exclusive, we've still been able to work with a few, but it really does like require having a conversation with that studio, being like, this is why we want to do this. Like, I'm going to be sharing this with my audience. More people are going to be introduced to your model. Ultimately, it's going to send more people to your website. It's going back to that mutual masturbation. And sometimes after these conversations, like they're into it, sometimes not so much. But we've also tried, as much as we work with porn stars, which I think it's important for when people go to the site to see the porn stars that they know and love practicing some of the stuff. We've also just worked with regular people that aren't porn stars, that are, anywhere from 19 years old to, we had an 83-year-old in one of the videos, and we're shooting with him again next week, and everything in between, and guys with bellies, guys with hair, guys that are short, tall, every color, so when you go to the site, yes, you can see all these porn stars that you follow, but you can also see reflections of yourself. And the response that we've gotten from people is actually that I think it's like 48% of our audience wants to see guys over the age of 50 in the content that we do. That people actually do enjoy seeing themselves, and expanding like the definition of what it means to be an attractive person, and like celebrating sexiness and all the different forms that it takes.
Speaking of shoot, Blake Mitchell, when he did the guided masturbation, I was watching that to research, to prepare, and the orgasm that he has is like I felt it in my body watching him, just like he was like shivering all over for like minutes. It was. Did you follow along and try, or did you just watch? Were you more a voyeur, or? No, I went like I always do. Skip. Okay, here we go.
Isn't that also sad? Like that in porn, it's so predictable that like where like to fast forward to watch the cum shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, I usually like watch the first few minutes to get the like premise of the whatever scene they're setting up, but I don't want to see them act too much, so I'll cut that off pretty quick once I get the gist of it, and then just get to like the things that are fun.
Well, sometimes we, just to fuck with people, because obviously we're aware of the expectation, is we'll put like the cum shot at the beginning or like in the middle, or sometimes there won't be one at all, and people get really like, once you start to fuck with that formula, either they're like really inspired by how it's different and like, oh, this is cool, or they get like really fucking pissed and like, like what are you doing? This is a good thing that we had going here. Like,
don't move my cum.
So yes, I know the cum shot that you're referring to. What we did was we shot 2 videos back to back, and the first video was how to have a full body orgasm. So for like 2 hours, or maybe it was 3 hours, we brought him through this process where he was having these like full body orgasms. His like arms, legs, everything was shaking, but he wasn't ejaculating. And when you have a full body orgasm like that, and usually when you have an ejaculatory orgasm, your sexual energy kind of drops. Like you want to take a nap, you jerk off, and you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, don't touch me, I'm straight. Like,
I'm straight
get out of my
now.
house. Here's the door. His sexual energy just kept building, and he hadn't had that release. And so then once we filmed the guided masturbation video, he could like barely keep his cum inside him. And so when he finally did come, it looked like he's having, like, it kind of looks like a seizure.
Yeah, like a sexy seizure.
Yeah. Everything's
In a
like
good
tight
way.
and flexing and twitching, and yeah.
I'm pretty sure everything he does just looks sexy though, because he's him.
Just by being a person.
Yeah. Are you guys a Blake Mitchell fan?
I am. I think I especially appreciate that he has his glasses on all the time. Like, it could be
Yes.
the most hardcore thing happening, but he's still got his glasses on. Like, that's his thing.
Yeah. When he first started, they had him take his glasses off, which is funny because like it's just become like iconic at this point. Yeah, he's a great guy. I love working with him.
What are some of the things people may not know about the normal gay porn they watch that you now know?
Okay. Yeah, this is, girl, the tea is hot now.
Spill it.
Yeah, this is, if you really like porn, then you probably should stop listening now.
Are we about to ruin everything?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the sausage rule? Like, you don't want to
Yes.
know how it's made?
You don't
I was
want to know.
literally going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're about to hear how the sausage is made. Oh, okay. So the first thing you should probably know is that most of the gay porn stars are straight.
That may have just enhanced someone's experience.
Here's the thing. Like, I get it. It sounds hot, right? Ooh, it's like straight guys sucking each other's dicks. Ooh. When you go on set and you like look into the eyes of someone that like does not want to have sex with the person that they're with, it is the opposite of sex.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And it's not fun to like watch people have sex that don't want to have sex with each other. Like, even if they're pretending really hard, like it's just not that's just not what gets me off.
Yeah.
And I mean, also to that point too, is a lot of the models don't have input with who their scene partners are. So a lot of studios don't care about chemistry. Some studios really do, and they like want to find partners that work well together. When we shoot people, we try to shoot people that have been in scenes together, that had really good chemistry and that really enjoyed it, or people that want to shoot together. Because if it's 2 guys that like, there's just nothing there, it just, again, it just kind of falls flat for me.
Nobody is that good of an actor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's surprising because until I really went on set with different studios to see porn for myself, like watching it, I did genuinely believe that like the guys were into each other. Like a lot of like the Eastern European porn, I'm like, oh yeah, like these guys are really into it. No, like they're into the paycheck that they're getting. And like people do all sorts of things that they don't want to do for money. Like sucking dick is just another one of those things. And that's fine. But like to me, human sexuality is something that feels very, I don't know, like sacred. And like if I am watching 2 guys have sex, like I want there to be an element of like authenticity to it. Like, sorry. There's also a lot of erection drugs, some of which are injectables. So they, in a lot of studios, it's really important, especially if you're going to fuck, you need to have a hard dick to fuck. We don't have fucking in all of our videos. And if someone doesn't get hard, they don't get hard. We just work with it. But a lot of studios have this formula they need to follow. And especially if you're a straight model and you need to get hard for some guy, and the Viagra is not working, they actually have injectables that you inject into your dick.
Oh,
That give you a 4-hour erection.
You killed Mike.
I was
dying.
not expecting that. Like you said, injectable. I was thinking like shooting up, like into the penis. That got
you
me.
inject it into the dick.
Oh God.
Where?
Yeah.
Where in the dick? Anywhere?
I haven't seen. We had a model on one of our sets come back, and he was like, "Yeah, I just injected my dick," and we were like, "Oh, it's like, no, it's fine. Like we do this all the time." And for us, it's like part of life is that like sometimes you're not hard, and like there's a ebb and flow, and I think like watching porn with all these rock hard dicks gives people these unrealistic expectations that like we would rather show like what naturally happens, which is like sometimes you're hard, sometimes you're not. It can go in waves.
Yeah, I remember when I first came out, it was an early on sexual encounter that I had, and I couldn't get erect, and I thought my life was over. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, maybe I'm not really gay, or I wonder this guy hates me now because I couldn't get hard. Like, and porn really did set up that expectation for me.
And I have to tell you that there's so much anxiety with models around like erections, like that it's such an important thing. And the more anxiety that there is around erections, like the harder it is to then get an erection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has this like, it's this like vicious cycle. And of course, as soon as we're like, well, it doesn't really matter if you get hard or not in the scene, everyone's hard because there's no pressure and they're comfortable. And, we try to make people really happy on set. So yeah. And I think there's a lot of like shadiness that goes on behind the scenes of like some of those contracts that you mentioned, like people being like locked into contracts that aren't to their benefit, or models getting started when they're really young and not knowing what they're getting into, and like not reading all the fine print. So it's a tough industry. Having said that, I've met lots of people who are great, awesome people who got into the industry because they really want to share their sex and sexuality with the world, and that are really empowered by what they do. And there's studios that really do respect their models, and but it's like anything else. Like there's always a few bad apples. Maybe there's more than a few in this industry, but yeah.
Not asking you to name names at all. Is there a way to tell? Like, is there some Reddit somewhere that I can read that will tell me which studios are the good ones that treat their animals well?
Free range porn stars.
We created a porn manifesto, and it was like people were calling it grass-fed porn, organic. But it's true. Like, I understand the question because as a conscious consumer who wants to be aware of what I'm putting into my body, like consuming porn is one of those things. And if you're going to, want to know where your milk is coming from,
where's the non-GMO porn?
Yeah. There is no like universal standard, and I don't think there's like a place that you can go to find that. But all I can speak for is myself, and that we really like the safety and comfort of the models is our paramount. It's the most important thing for us when we shoot. So I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I think my damage of like what porn has done to me, the biggest thing for me has been when I started bottoming, and which was very early in my gay career. Thank you. And everyone was just kept telling me like, I've heard people say like, oh, you just need to relax more, or you can take more than you're letting on, or like, I think they were also like influenced by the gay porn they saw, thinking that everyone has the same gaping asshole that you can, put your giant 12-inch dick into. But I was not that case, and I have a tiny butthole. Comes up in far too many conversations, but it wasn't true for me, and I didn't know that. They were probably prepping a whole lot to get that like ready, and that I myself was different than all of them and had to do even more work. So I only like within the past couple of years learned what I need to do to really like bottom and enjoy it.
You also can't blame them, because it's like when you watch porn, literally there's no let me like tease the hole with the finger. Like let's apply lots of lube. Let me check in with my partner.
Yeah, the checking in are like one. In fact, like if you scream more or it looks like it hurts, then that sometimes is like a turn on for people. Like,
right. Yeah, we filmed an entire video that was like basically the 20 minutes that gets cut from every porn of like how the bottom is opened up to take like these giant dicks using toys and lube and fingers and tongues and all sorts of things. But that's an important thing for people to know.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, you wanted to tell us numbers and boring things?
Yeah.
Is that true?
It is. Did you have anything more?
No, I want to hear these numbers.
Okay.
Let's get it.
We only on Gayish would we say, here are all the terrible things about gay porn. We're ruining it for everyone. This is what we do. It looked like it was going to be such an exciting episode until right now. Okay. So I looked up a little bit of research on how young people, and especially gay young people, use porn and what its effect on them is. So the main study I looked at is from Australia, which is a real country that is legitimate. So this data is correct, I think, is 2017. The median age for men watching porn, not just gay men, all men, is 13. So they like that already. I think a lot of porn is restricted to 18 plus. So you're technically not supposed to be using porn for any kind of education, but people do anyway. And basically exactly what you're saying, there's no like good, when I'm 13 to 18, learning about gay sex from anywhere.
Right. Yeah, there's a vacuum. You're not I went to fucking Catholic high school. Like Sister Mary Frances, like pulled down a chart of a penis and basically told us it was evil. You know, like it wasn't.
It just was labeled with one thing: evil.
Yeah,
this is the evil part.
And especially queer sex, like of like you barely the sex ed that I had that was straight was like how not to have it. You know, it was like like don't do this.
Yeah. Ours was I grew up in Texas, so ours was they got us all in assembly and they rolled a die to see what you got. Like if you rolled a 1, like you have chlamydia. You roll a 2, you're pregnant. And then like one of the numbers, like you roll a 6, okay, you're fine, nothing happens. And then at the end, they handed out abstinence pledges and said you don't have to sign it, but if you do want to, here's an abstinence pledge and put it in this box.
And if you don't, here's a jar with an aborted fetus for you to look into, look into its eyes and tell it that
you have to spit in the jar, spit on the fetus to remind it how much you hate it. Texas, it's great. Okay, so back to the study. Those that were LGBT were 3 times more likely to watch porn more frequently. So, I mean, that if you're gay or lesbian, you watch more porn more regularly than everyone else. So that makes sense to me.
Wait, why?
Because of just, you're young, you're gay. I don't know.
I feel like because you're learning even less about it. Like it's even more mysterious. Like at least straight porn, you'll see representations of it on TV, and like whatever sex ed you are getting is geared towards straight people.
That's true.
So if you're gay, like it's even more like mysterious. Like what is this? So let me watch porn to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could kind of like use the internet to figure out your orientation. Like part of it is just exploring and figuring yourself out. And you're like, oh yes, I do really like this guy sucking that guy's dick. And maybe I am gay.
I guess before the internet, all we had was the underwear section of the JCPenney catalog.
Yeah. Or walking through the underwear section in the store where you could look at the top of like the quarter top of some guy's torso.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing that's like frustrating is that like I feel like up until this point, every generation of gay men has had to figure it out for themselves. Yeah. And at a certain point, it's like, how about we stop trying to like reinvent the wheel with each generation and we actually like pass down some of this wisdom. And when I connect with these like sex therapists or tantric coaches or sexologists, like the amount of knowledge that they have is incredible. It's also, I also recognize like that in many instances, the ability to transmit that knowledge is limited, or they do it in a way that's really dry and no one wants to watch. And I think like, if there's anything that I've learned from YouTube, you talked about me taking my shirt off all the time. Mm-hmm. It's that you dip the broccoli in chocolate. Like you have the good message at its core, but you need to package it in a way that like makes no one wants to eat broccoli.
Yeah.
But if you dip it in chocolate, it's like candy. So you can take this knowledge that these incredible gurus and educators have and package it in a porn. Well, shit, it's like really fun to watch. Like I might jerk off to it. It's hot, but then at the end of it, like you actually learn some of that information and it actually facilitates that kind of being passed down.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it does.
absolutely.
Yeah, you said your YouTube is use the skin to bring them in. Then your Himeros is use the dick to make them click.
Ooh. Ooh. You've been thinking about that one for a while.
It's been, I haven't listened to anything you said the past 30 minutes. I've just been waiting for my time to use that. No, it was also, here we start to get even sadder about the study. So,
Bring us down, Kyle. Let's do it.
qualitative part of the study said that gay youth use porn to learn about their sexual organs and function, understand the mechanics of same-gender sex, to learn about sexual performance and roles, and to understand how sex should feel in terms of pleasure and pain. So,
That's
like,
so scary.
I know. I read that, and, like, especially the last part, learn how sex should feel. That's... No, don't... That's not how it should feel. It shouldn't... You do not use gay porn to know how it should feel.
Oh my God.
I know. That entire sentence was just so much that...
It teaches you like gay sex should feel like you're afraid that your mom or brother is going to come busting into your room in any second.
Yeah.
Or
you'll probably hook up with your sister's boyfriend at some point in time.
your stepdad's going to come.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it was the first study to demonstrate that there's an association between younger age of exposure and poor mental health later in life. So...
Wait, so like the younger you are that you start watching porn, the worse off your mental health is?
Yep.
Well, I mean, you spoke to that at the very beginning. You said, like, what's the purpose of porn? You said to make me feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's probably a lot of people who watch porn and don't see who they are represented in the content. And, like, that's just going to set you up for a pretty tough fucking experience going through life.
Yeah.
You know? It's interesting that there isn't more representation in porn because, like, in those instances where worked with, I'd say, like, the non-traditional porn aesthetic, the response has always been really great. So it seems to me that, like, even if you just want to look at porn from perspective of, like, dollars and cents, that there would probably be an actual good business model in hiring models that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, hiring guys with bellies, like hiring what you don't see. Whenever we put a video with someone that doesn't have a huge dick, people email me to say how excited they are to see someone with a dick that looks like theirs.
Oh.
A normal person dick, a normal
Like a
human
regular
dick.
human dick. And
Yeah.
okay, the last thing that I'll say about numbers is from a different study, from 2000 study that's Canadian. So we're covering all of our former British colonies. The present gay male obsession with hypermasculinity, best evidence in the porn now widely touted. Canada was doing this like big fight to like everyone should have access to gay porn, and the argument gay porn advocates were making is like it's healthy, it's what people used to like learn about themselves, and then someone actually like did a study to be like, but really, is that true? And so it reinforces the obsession with hypermasculinity. And it is where people source of gay male identity and freedom. I don't understand that part, so I'll skip it. And it undermines safe sexual practices and the self-respect needed to combat youth suicide.
Yeah.
So that leads to like the hypermasculinity is what we learn and what you need to be, and then it doesn't teach you self-confidence, and those mental health issues are contributing to high rates of suicide among LGBT people.
Now, this was a Canadian study.
This was a Canadian study, yeah.
Are any of these studies being funded by Donald Trump's White House?
Well, apparently, who knew that we needed to start a war with Canada? I did not know that was enemy number one until just now.
Yes.
So maybe we need to distrust them because we're kicking them out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is that, I mean, I kind of feel the same way about porn as I do about Grindr, which is like that it's kind of this love-hate relationship but it's all in kind of how you use it.
Yeah.
And if you recognize porn for what it is, you can be like, okay, yeah, like this is what it is and this is what it isn't. And there can be this place for it. But when you start to look at the influence it has, especially like in our community and especially with younger folks, it's pretty alarming. And I don't think that you're ever going to succeed in limiting their access to it. So, I mean, my strategy has kind of been, let's create something else that fills that vacuum, that can connect people with things like intimacy and actual pleasure and consent and ways to connect with human beings that like actually bring joy to your life. Like,
Instead of making you more likely to kill yourself.
right.
I suddenly want to fill my vacuum.
I know, a lot of things are being filled. Huh? A lot of just voids, big insatiable voids, if you will.
Well, yeah. So, and we don't have to talk about it for very long, but I did want to say something about how porn has changed. At least, I've been out for 10 years. In a couple of months, and I was watching gay porn when my ex-wife was out of town, well before that. But it's definitely changed, and one of the big things that's changed, I think, is bareback. Like how acceptable it seems to be for studios to put out bareback porn, and I think that's maybe because of HIV rates are coming down, and PrEP is really revolutionizing the way that we view HIV. What do you guys think? Is it okay? Do you think bareback porn is okay and we should accept it and move on? Or are the old ideas about that's never a good idea, even in a monogamous relationship, and we're doing ourselves a disservice by showing it?
So...
Peace, I'm out. I'm done.
I think, well, first of all, I can say with a high degree of certainty, the reason you see more of it is because it's a response to market demand, that as studios started creating more bareback content, it's what consumers said that they wanted. Now that is kind of divorced from the question of whether or not it's a good thing to do. I can say, I mean, we did a video in Provincetown a few months ago called Sexually Transmitted Joy. It was kind of a play on STDs. And it was kind of in recognition of the fact that like our gay sex has been used as a vehicle for transmitting fear and disease and like the baggage that we all collectively as gay men have, that like the thing that we crave the most is also the thing that can kill you. Mm-hmm. And what that does to you as a person as you grow and develop is like that's a difficult thing to come to gripes with. And I think that as PrEP has become more popular and as more studios have done, more condom-free content, it doesn't mean that content is filmed in a way that's not safe for the models. In most instances, there's a lot of testing that goes on. The models are on PrEP. They test for other STDs beforehand. There's also kind of I think for some people, they feel a sense of kind of liberation from that fear that has been such a big part of the sex that we've had for really like an entire generation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah. I think like for me, there's a difference between like my personal habits and like my theoretical beliefs. Like when I watch porn, like I know people should use condoms and I don't. And when I watch porn, when I see a condom, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stop watching usually. Someone has to be super duper hot for me to stay in it with a condom. So that's like the personal side that is not. Oh
no, I'm trying to process that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you represent millions of gay men that have that same perspective, which is why studios now often don't film with condoms.
Yeah, but
because you don't like the way it looks, or like the symbolically it turns you off. Like
I want to see that cum. I'm in it for the jizz in the ass.
I mean, don't they pull a condom off before the money shot?
Yeah, but like they don't come in your ass and then stick it back in.
It's a psychological thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
guess I don't get it, but that's
what I
fine.
enjoy.
That's fine. Do you think seeing porn without condoms in it has made you less likely to wear condom. Like we've talked before about like safer sex is better for everybody's health, but that we don't always succeed in wrapping it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, one of the studies I looked at it, but I didn't write it down. Is like the higher the proportion of bareback porn you watch, the more likely you are to not use a condom yourself. So,
but you could also say like the more piss porn you watch, the more likely you are to engage in piss porn. Maybe that's because you like piss. Like
that's true.
Like, is the bareback porn shaping your behavior, or are you seeking it out because that's a kink of yours?
Yeah, correlation versus causation.
Yeah,
yeah. But I give you a lot of credit though for sharing that, because like what you just expressed about like if there's a condom you're out. That's the way. That's not a minority experience. Like that's something that a lot of people express that don't want to talk about because it's kind of uncomfortable.
So I think what's missing is like, I think people are going to watch bareback porn and they're going to have bareback sex. Like they're going to do it. So I think it's more about like not trying to stop people from doing that, but just educating them on what's important. I feel like when you put all gay sex is right now in the category of it's all bad, then you don't understand the distinction between, well, it's way different if we jerk each other off versus if they come in my mouth versus if they come in my ass, and if I'm the top or the bottom. Like, then it just all becomes the same of all of that is bad, so it doesn't matter which I do. Versus being like, hey, did you know if you swallow cum, it's way less likely to give you an HIV infection than if you are the bottom. Like, you know, just teaching people those different things. Because I remember being like in my mid-20s and I was like talking to some girl who was also really slutty like me in a great way. And we were both like, wait, can you get HIV from like cum in your mouth? And like, we didn't know basic facts about this thing we've been drinking. Like, it's not great. So I think it's more about just there being a way to educate people so that they can make the right decision.
Yeah. And I don't know that that's really even happening. Like that sounds like a great scenario, but like as someone that dates generally guys that are younger than myself, I know that when I was like, I don't know, in my college, like I would never have sex without a condom. And oftentimes when I hook up with someone that's college age, for example, like there's like no one's bringing condoms with them. Like it's not a part of the conversation in the way that it was before. And maybe that's because we're in a world where people are more likely to be on PrEP, and you know they have safer sex can take a lot of different forms other than just condoms. But it also could be that some of this content, that because bareback porn is so pervasive, that's really the only type of sex that people know to have. Yeah, I don't think that there is a lot of that nuanced sex education that you're expressing. Like people may say like, yeah, it's when you're in school, you might learn about STD transmission, but it's not going to be on the level of like statistics and topping versus bottoming and how PrEP can play a role. Like it's just not that nuanced.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So just so everyone knows, bottoming is more likely to get HIV, and especially bottoming bareback. Like the top, very hard to get from topping.
Unless you have like an open sore.
Yeah.
All right. Did we do it? Did we do the gay porn?
I think so. Is there anything else we didn't cover that we should have?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it again.
You think this won't be the last time on Gayish that we talk about gay porn?
No, it will not.
All right. That's fair.
So, should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Break.
Yes.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest. But first, Davey, where can people find more about you and what you're up to?
Yeah, I would say just check out himeros.tv. We have a 20% off special for people that are listening. So it's himeros.tv as in television /pod, P-O-D. And you can join there and watch free previews and get a free gift and everything. And if you do join, it's 20% off.
Sweet.
So yeah, see you there.
And how about your social media stuff?
Just Google Davey Wavey. You'll get whatever, Twitter, dick pics, Instagram, more than you could ever possibly want.
Fantastic. Our website is gayishpodcast.com.
All of our social media is /Gayish Podcast, including our Facebook group /Gayish Podcast.
And YouTube and Twitter and Insta and all the things.
So much things.
Our hotline, we get voice messages and text mails. That's wrong. Hotline.
Messages and text mails.
Our hotline. We get voicemails and text messages. It's 585-5-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
And our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Great.
All right, so gayest and straightest, Davey, as our guest, would you like to go first?
Yeah, what is this? I had no idea.
Damn it! This whole episode is cut.
I'm just kidding. They reminded me like 700 times that I think of my gay.
So this better be good. You're setting us up for a really good gayest and straightest.
Okay, well, my straightest is not that good, so I'll lead with that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, my straightest is that because it's Labor Day weekend that we're recording this. I'm in Palm Springs. Everyone in Palm Springs is drunk, especially the gays, and on other things. I have never had alcohol in my life, and I feel like that's a very not gay thing to be a non-drinking homosexual.
Yeah. How do you fit in and talk to people?
I don't. I just don't.
Because I couldn't do it with you just saying I couldn't do it without alcohol.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just kind of sit with the discomfort
Wow.
and push through it.
Yeah.
Gayest thing is that I'm getting ready for next week. We're doing a tantric retreat for porn stars in the desert here in California for Himrose TV, and I feel like that's pretty fucking gay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like as gay as it could.
Yeah.
Like, I win. It's over.
That's very true, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything gayer than that. Except that one weekend where I got crazy. I'm
New
not talking
Orleans
about
last
that.
weekend?
No, I was very good because I'm mostly monogamous.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mostly monogamous. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty...
Eminem.
I'm pretty up there on the monogamy scale. My gayest thing about me is my handwriting. I always remember this when I write anything down is when I was in school.
It's very pretty.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There was one of my English teachers held up a paper that was like, someone forgot to put their name on it, but it's definitely a girl's. And someone was like, that's Kyle's. I was like, oh.
Have you seen the Bic for women pens?
So awesome.
Yes.
They actually design fucking pens for women.
The Amazon
comments-
reviews for it.
Oh, I forgot to. I'm going to take a little bit of break right here. I completely forgot. Davey, this is for you. I looked at your video about hand jobs because you said you had a video that said, like, basically don't give hand jobs.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down 3 of my favorite comments, and I'm going to read them to you.
Okay.
Do you ever read the comments on your YouTube?
Often. I try not to.
I would
stay away
think
from
at
that.
some point you just have to be like, I can't read
Yeah.
any comments
Yeah.
anymore.
But these have got to be amazing. So these are comments from the audience.
Yeah.
I
on
try to
your
be as disengaged as possible.
Okay, one of the comments on the video, hand jobs are like Pepsi. Never your first choice, but you'll take it anyway. Another
I'm
one.
gonna waste calories. I'm not taking it.
I gotta save this up for something. Okay. It's next comment, but it's all the work without you doing any of it. It also leaves both of your hands free. You can eat a sandwich. Which
That's a
this
good point.
person is on my page. Like, I didn't think
can't
about
argue
like
with that.
the last one that I like. In this economy, I'll take any job. Okay.
But about
I forgot I had those. Okay, so my straightest thing is that I personally think Mike and I were in New Orleans last weekend, and I think that when I'm in travel mode, I'm very assertive in a way that regular life Kyle is not. Like, I'm like, I know where to go, and I'm moving around people, and everyone's slower than me, and I'm just like walk fast and
you're
assertive and confident in a way that...
HBIC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Move, motherfuckers. I got places to be.
Yeah, that's the power bottom in you coming out.
Oh, I love that. Power bottom Kyle needs to take control more often.
Power bottoms rule the world.
Who run the world?
Power bottoms.
So the straightest thing about me this week, also from New Orleans, was just coming home and finding after the night that we drank the whole town dry and didn't come home until 6 o'clock and browned out. You were blacked out. All of the bruises. I just had bruises everywhere. I looked like I was, I don't know, an MMA fighter or something. It's both my shoulders and my hip and my knee. And
That should have been my straightest moment if I remembered it. Like you told me later that I threw a beer bottle on the ground and punched you a whole bunch. And
yeah, you were so violent.
Sorry about that. That's the power bottom in me.
Yeah.
And the gayest thing about me this week, I don't know. We've said that like sex things probably shouldn't count, but this is a sex thing. We were at a bar called the Rawhide in New Orleans.
Like I sucked a dick. I looked pretty gay with that dick hanging out of my mouth.
Exactly. But that boy gave me a blowjob in the bar in public. So I mean that was pretty gay. But I think what was gayer, when I turned around and Kyle's back was to me, he was like a foot away from me while I was getting this blowjob in this dark room in this bar. The tone of my voice when I was just like, oh my God, stop. We have to go. Like, before Kyle sees me, we have to go. Zip up and like sashay away real fast.
I could have gone my whole life not knowing that you got a blowjob like feet away from me. That's not so necessarily. I mean, I know it now, so that's.
You're probably happy for him, right? Like, get it.
No, because I care more about myself than I do about Mike. So
that's fair.
And then the next day, I didn't know how to bring it up either. But
how did you bring it up?
I think I just say, "Hey, Kyle, last night did you see my dick?"
Yeah, and the answer is no.
Isn't that an opportunity for us as gay men to support each other in the gay sex this world so desperately needs?
You want it to be like, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
like get that dick. Get that dick sucked. Come on.
No. It's,
okay.
No. You would think it would be.
I would think it wouldn't be, but but I think there's an opportunity there.
There's a great opportunity that I do not want to take.
I'll make a video about it.
Okay. So, Mike, next time I'll cheer you on to come.
Okay. I won't. That will not help. I just want you to know that.
I hear a watched pot never ejaculates.
Yeah, I've heard that too. So that's it. This has been Gayish. A special thank you, as always, to Charlie Finn for the use of our theme music.
And thank you to Davey Wavey. Thank
Davey
you so
Wavey.
much for being on ours and having us on yours.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Do you have other thank yous?
Thank you to all the gay porn stars for making my life more complete.
Thank you to Blake Mitchell for wearing his glasses.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Back it up and hear me as I will sing. Hey, and by the way, do you hear what your words bring? Oh, P.S. I'm gay.
Also, I know that you were upset that I had a long sleeve shirt, but I am not wearing pants.
Oh,
all right.
Attractive to see that leg just fly by.
leg in the air.
Yeah.
That's the attractive thing.